All right. Okay. Next, we'll be looking into this one, the how I divide the assessment for this course. Okay. This we'll be looking into the aspects of three things. One is continuous assessment. One is the final assessment itself, and then number three will be the total amount of assessment. So the continuous assessment is 70%. Okay, and then the final examination will be 30%. Okay, so altogether is 100%. Okay, how I divide the three things according to the education outcomes for this particular course. EPS1 is looking into the EPS stands for Education Program Standards. This is the requirement of the Malaysian Qualification Agency. The EPS1 is regarding the one that I mentioned before, knowledge. EPS7 is about your exploring ability, your thinking skill, and your scientific problem solving. EPS7 and EPS10 is about regarding your talent development. Okay, so knowledge will be basically covering 30% of the assessment, your scientific and problems solving 45%, and then your talent development will be 20%. So basically, the first one under knowledge, EPS1 is quiz for 15%. This we will be having it, I think, sometimes in week 6, week 6 of our class, and I will inform you, and we will discuss about the what will be covered in the quiz as well. Okay. For the final examination, will be 20% on knowledge. Okay, this one will be at the end of the semester. Okay, and then you have a problem solving group assignment, which I will give later on. That one will be 20%. Group assignment is 3 to 4 people for a group, so then you can choose your group members, and I give you the freedom to choose your group members as well. Okay, and then next one will be group assignment 2. SCL stands for student-centered learning. Will be based on your study, right? Your group work as well. This will be 15%. There will be a film about Angry Man, which I will put in the Putra Blast. The other day I was trying to upload in the Putra Blast, but I faced a problem, so I will still try to upload the link to that one. But I have to download as well the movie itself. Okay, the film. I think it's about 40 to 45 minutes film, and then you have to watch it individually, and then you have to write assignments based on that one on a group basis, 3 or 4 people, which I think you can also choose your members, your friend. Okay, and then the final examination, which it is 30%, 20% will be covering the knowledge aspects, and 10% will be covering your thinkings and problem solving skills. In that will be basically questions asking your ability to solve a problem. Okay, and then there will be a assignment number 3, which is I think is going to be the first one that you are going to do. Is individual assignment. Individual assignments where you have to interview somebody. Then I will discuss about this later on today. Okay, because this is the first assignment which you have to submit sometimes in, I think, week 9 of your semester. Okay, and then looking into the next aspect, so altogether will be 100%. Okay, 15% quiz 1. Okay, assignments 1 will be 20%. Assignment 2 group assignment in film 15%. Assignment 2 Group assignment on problem solving will be 20%, and final examination, which covers the aspect of knowledge and your talent development, your thinking and problem solving skill will be 30%. So altogether will be 100%. If you total that one, I think it's going to be 100%. Yeah. So basically, so all the best lah. Okay. Okay. For quiz one, okay, the exams will cover something like this. Okay? I will give you 40 multiple choice questions and one short structured questions, which is requiring you to answer maybe in a page or less than one, or a paragraph or two paragraphs. Okay? It will be an hour online test, which will be conducted through your Putra Blast or your Google form. I will decide on it later, because my worry is if we have it on the Google form, it's better, it's easier, but you have to make sure that you have a good internet connection during the test itself for 1 hour. Okay. What I will cover is topic 1, topic 2, and topic 3. Topic 1 is covering the introductions. Topic 2 is about the components of thinking skills. And number 3, I think, is about brain functions, which I will discuss next week. Okay. So the individual assignments, just this one is just a brief one. Interview, face-to-face interview or online interview. You have to refer to Putra Blast as well. And then the due date will be on week 9. Okay. So the film review assignment basically requiring you to watch a film entitled 12 Angry Men individually and make a report as required below. I think this one also we have to refer to the Putra Blast. I have put it already in the Putra Blast. However, you are required to write the report as a group work, 3 to 4 students per group. Okay. Due date, I think week 13 of our semester. Okay. And then problem solving skill also. I will give this in the Putra Blast. This is something related to your program in TESOL and trying to use your thinking skills ability. Okay. And then due, I think week 13 or week 14, I will discuss the issue later on. Okay. Your final examination will be determined later on, which is 30%. Then multiple choice questions. I think 30 to 40 multiple choice questions. There will be also structured questions. Normally, the final exam will last between 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Okay. These are the references, which I think you can find in the internet also. Okay. Good morning, Monica. Okay. Any questions so far? Any question?
Nope.
No question?
Wait, Doctor.
Yeah.
For the group assignment, are you going to assign the group or we choose our own group?
I will allow you to choose your colleague. Okay, your group members. I will put I think after this class I will put Google form and you have to fill in. You find your friends, okay, and then name it in the group and then send it to me. So I will know those who are in your group and so on. So I will give the freedom. I'm not going to assign it. So I think you also have not known each other very well. Unless you want me to assign, I can assign. Okay. Which one you prefer? You prefer find your own friends, or you prefer me to to name your group members?
Find our own group mate.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I will do. Okay. Okay. You're free to. Okay. Okay. So next, okay, let me check what I will discuss also. Okay, for today, let me check. Okay. Right, in the tutorial class today, if you find for topic 2, okay, this one, those things which I have put in the tutorial class, okay. One is the PowerPoint notes regarding the thinking skills component. And number 2 about the game, okay, visual thinking visually. And number 3 is I think 4 and number 5. Okay, basically, if you look in the Kutablas, there are links. For example, this one, if you can see, yeah, you can see, right? This one. If you cannot see, tell me.
Yes, can see.
I'm sharing the screen now. Down there, yeah, down here, okay, okay, here, okay. Topic 2 by Dr. Mokhtar, the course coordinator. Actually, he has recorded his lecture and share with all of us in the group of thinking skill. So you can basically watch it if you want. You are having problems in terms of internet and so on, and the same thing, the same course, the same content that only delivered by different person. Okay, so I also record my lecture today, so I will try put it in the tablet as well, so you will not miss anything. Okay, so I also here have the game which I'm going to discuss with you. We try together. Okay, this one, yeah. Thinking skill, thinking visually. I'm not sure whether I can share with you, but I think I can share with you the. But I'm not very good in playing with the computer. And then you see here also. This one is a short video. Yeah, a short video on metacognition. I think you should look into it. Okay, watch it for a few minutes, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes. Not a short, long video. And other one is regarding this one. Okay, the emotional intelligence. Basically discussing about emotional intelligence. So these are links. Okay, in fact there are many in the internet, but I chose this just to give you more ideas about what is the contents of our topic today. So you can spend some time to look into. I think now you have much free time because of the COVID-19. You cannot go anywhere. Just stay at home. So okay, this one, all right. Any question? You have a question? You ask me. Okay. All right. So next one I want to recall back about what we have discussed last week. Also, the same thing for lecture last week. There is a link on Introduction to Thinking Skill as well, given by Dr. Mokhtar, which I think you can also look into the video itself. Okay. Right. This one, last week I started already. I just want to go straight to something. Okay. I've discussed something about the whole thing. I think is here. I just want to recap this thing before we finish. Yeah. Okay. Okay. When we started last week, regarding thinking, why is it so important? So, in terms of thinking itself, if you look here, okay, okay, how to play with that one? Okay. I'm trying to use my pen again. Okay, elements of reasoning. Why you can see it? Let me check. Okay. I'm trying to use my pen again. Nampak tak? Okay. Okay, try this one. Okay, so important things about thinking is basically we look into the aspect of reasoning. Okay, reasoning. Yeah, elements of reasoning. There are various aspects about reasoning that you can. So maybe you are trying to do a number of things. Yeah? For example, so when you are trying to do a number of things in your life, you have to see. Yeah, you have to see the point of view. Yeah. So basically, as who basically can judge things. So you have certain view. For example, what? As an example, you have to, for example, if you have certain view, some people, okay, some people, I give you an example like me, a lecturer, okay. My class start at 9 o'clock, okay. This is a classic example. Many lecturers will do it. Okay. We when you attend classes, uh, this is normally applied to the face-to-face classes. For example, you have to go to school at certain times and you cannot be late, or you will be penalized, or you will be certain disciplinary action and so on. Okay, I think you remember when you were in when you were in your secondary school. So even in university, okay, certain lecturer will take the stand that you cannot come late into class. So if you come late into class, he will shut the door for you and you will not be able to attend the class. Okay. So this view, what is the implications? Or what are the implications of not allowing students into class, even though the students are late? Any comment? Matilda?
There will miss
Yeah. Who is that? Who is that?
Sarah. No, I'm my Sarah.
Okay, Sarah, yeah. So what do you think?
think, in my opinion, they will miss certain topic. They will be completely lost. That's the first one.
Yeah.
Second one, they will hit their lecturer, obviously.
And then,
Yeah, if the reasons make sense, but then the lecturer not be tolerant at all. So yeah, so
yeah.
I think
This is one aspect. I think yeah, you are right. Any other comment? Thank you, Nasara. Yes.
My opinion,
yeah.
my opinion is that the implication for the lecturer is that the lecturer values the rules more than the how
Human
do you
aspect.
call it, the human aspect of giving knowledge to the student, and I think that is detrimental to the student.
Yeah. You are right. You're right. Okay. Any other comment? One more comment from China. I want to know from China. What is happening if you cannot, if you come late to class? The implication to the students over there. Anybody from China? No? Okay. All right. Yeah, you are right. But because certain people they hold to certain principles. What do you call this? Certain principles. Yeah? If you come late to my class, you should not be in my class. Something like that. So the implication we can look into the two aspects, for example, okay, on the students and on the lecturer. As you said, Murphy, just now, if the lecturers hold too strict to the rules, right? Quote unquote, the rules, that being punctual. Punctual is a good thing, right? One thing you have to, because this thing can be debated, For example, if punctuality is, if you emphasize on punctuality, if you look into the Japanese code of conduct, if you look into the Korean, for example, even if you look to the Western people, they are very punctual. this is one aspect. You know, when you look into the aspect of punctuality, yes, it's good. Yeah, but then we have to look also in terms of the human aspects. We have to ask for reasons, for example, right? Before we come to the conclusion, right? We have to look into the reasons why. That's why there are things, and you cannot make. We were assuming. Normally, we base on certain assumptions, right? On certain assumptions, whereby we think that the students, some lecturers lah, purposely come late to the class. So these are, but we do not know. They might face something, for example, traffic jam, if they are face to face. And then if you, even if online also, you know, for example, if we are having internet problems, I also facing internet problems. It's not easy. So now we have to use a lot of our judgment. So what we need is, before we come to decide on something, we need more information. That's why one of there are certain lecturers, you will find it, you will see some of your lecturers here will do that. If you're late even 1 minute, they will close the door, they will shut the door, and you will be you will miss the class. See? So on one aspect, you will lose certain information. On another aspect, yeah, I think we also will learn a lesson from that one. So I think this, because this is important thing in life. Yeah? So the elements of reasoning, you have to think about implications. If you think that is good, but you have to look also into some other information before you make decisions. So you cannot make assumptions just based on your emotion as well. So you need more information to decide, for example. So this is something. So the elements of reasoning extract the common concepts from this virtually unlimited set of reasoning activities, of course. There are many things, okay, that we can decide. There are many things that we can look. For example, we can assume. What we always do is that we always assume things, and our assumptions based on what? If you assume something, what is your basis of making that assumptions? Anybody want to respond? When you assume, yeah.
I think most assumptions are based on personal bias and maybe just the superficial thing.
Okay, good. Yeah, yeah. Many of the, I mean, our assumptions are based on our personal bias. Maybe based on our experience, right? What you have gone through. Also based on what you have read, what you have seen, what you have heard, what others say around you, and how you were raised, you know, how you were brought up. Because the way you were raised when you're small until now, it affects your decision making, affects your thinking, affects your actions, and so on. Okay, so that's why there are many unlimited set of reasoning activities. I mean, you can find thousands and thousands of reasons if you want to come reasons. Okay, so basically, to learn to reason is to come to mastery. So mastery concepts like the implications. So you have to think. If you do this, what happened? If you do that, what happened? If you say this, what happened? Normally nowadays, especially when the era of internet is so the speed is too fast. Okay? By one click of your finger, the information will travel all over the world. And you must remember, if you say something bad, for example, what are the implications? Not only to you, but to the society, to your parents, and everybody around you. So that's why now, even now, if the worst thing, if you say wrong thing, if you're accusing of something which is not legal, for example, which is against the law, for example, you can be summoned and you'll be in trouble. Even now, even now during this the movement control order period. You cannot go anywhere you want. If you simply go out and then if you get caught, how much you will pay? You pay 1,000, you know. If you forget your mask, don't forget your mask, you go out, you can be fined for 1,000 ringgit. I mean, this is so the implications of this. What is implication? Implication is the effect. The simple things, you know? The impacts, what will happen to you, right? And then to learn also to come to mastery the concepts like the points of view, we have to understand not only our point of view, our opinion, our thinking. We must also look into the other sides. I think then later on you will learn about empathy, for example. With empathy, you have to put yourself in that person's shoe. You have to know also about what they call this. We have also about sympathy, right? So these are things which we have to learn in our life. And then you have to also making conclusions is difficult. Making conclusions is not as simple as we have thought. Yeah. Yes, making assumptions. Okay, it's easy to make assumptions, but certain assumptions might not be right. Yeah. Of course, there's a lot of information that we need in our life. Yeah. We need to read a lot. We need to take opinions from others. We need to listen, and also our experience of socializing with our friends, with our colleagues, with other people, with older people, also will affect our listening. Okay? So these are the elements of why one of the reasons why thinking is important to us. Okay. Okay. And let's look into the other slide. What happened? Okay. So normally when we talk about thinking, there is always element of critical thinking. Okay. So actually, what is it? Okay. We will discuss later on about critical thinking. So being critical, meaning it's not only about okay. Learning critical thinking is learning how to think well. Why? How to think well. Okay. How to think well. Okay. So this is something which is how to think well. Think deep. Yeah? So it is thinking that meets high standards of quality. Yeah? Thinking about high standards of quality. So we are not simply say something, but we think before we say something. One conclusion is more accurate than another. What does it mean? If we say we conclude A and we conclude B, sometimes A is better than B, sometimes B is better than A. So what makes us choice? So you look into the implications. Yeah? So by being critical, we will know the implications. Right? We can know it better. We can know it clearly than before we learn it. So, and then another important thing is focus on the most important aspects of the problem. You look into the important aspects. Yeah? You look into the important aspects of a problem. I just want to know, can you see all this marking?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that easier. So I mean, like, we can highlight the things. I have learned this yesterday, so that's why I want to use it today for my hand. So we are learning every day. You know, I think you all are much better than me, so you can teach me how to make a better presentation as well. So as though we are doing in the face-to-face class. Okay. So we have thought through an issue sufficiently, of course. So we have thought through, yeah, meaning that we have thinking. Okay, to learn to reason well is to come to mastery. Yeah, both the elements of standards of such accuracy, whether clearness, okay, importance, and sufficiency. Okay, all right. So these are the things that I want to call this. Okay, so all right. These are from the last week's slides. Okay. There are a few things that I have not touched. Okay, what are the problems of thinking? What are the problems in thinking? What are the problems in thinking? I think you know. I have give one case from your experience where you couldn't think as much or as good as you should. Discuss with your friend next to you when, where, and why does it happen. Okay, let's ponder about this one. In you can see this one without using the slideshow. You can see this one, right? Okay. Give one case from your experience where you couldn't think as much or as good as you should. Okay, I mean, just this. We go straight to your response now. I want to know. Anybody has come across this experience where you cannot think? I call this. When you cannot what you call this your from your experience where you couldn't think as much. Anybody? Anybody have come across a situation where you cannot think that much and then you have to act, you have to decide. And then what happened after that?
Yeah.
No. Yes, Amina. Or anybody else? Anybody? Yeah. Anybody, please?
Maybe I can give an example.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So maybe like the times when someone comes to you complaining about another person, and you only get their perspective. So maybe you already have assumption, oh, that person is bad, he did this and that.
Okay.
But however, you actually don't have the full story because you did not, because I did not, this happens to all of us, maybe because we did not contact the other person. So maybe we have that assumption that is bad, but we are not actually taking straight because we did not have the full story.
Okay. I think last week we have our good thought. Okay. When somebody says something, right? So let's look into another example. I think last week we have this our athlete, our national athlete. Who is our national athlete? Huh? What's her name? Huh?
Doctor, can I ask something?
Yeah, sure. Who is it?
Amina.
Okay, Amina.
Why is not your notes are the same one, the one in Putra Blast?
Well, just now that two slides I just added. I just found a few things. I will put that into the Putra Blast later on. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I not always update, so I have not. I don't have the time yet to put in, so I will put after this. That two slides is additional slides. You don't worry. Okay, I will put. I think we have this one last week. Iza, Iza is there? Are you there?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. As I think you have a good experience as a national athlete. Maybe you have come across situations where you couldn't think as much or as good as you have should, and then you have to decide, and then there is implications to your actions. And I also want to get somebody else also after this. Can you share with us? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of experience when it comes to like using my brain, because when it comes to competition, I tend to get really nervous, and I have this like I guess it's a panic attack, where I couldn't as good as I should at the situation. But when the situation like bila dah habis competition, when the competition's over, I'm like, oh, why I didn't think that way before? But because I was put into such a situation, it was very intensive, and I was in a very, everything was just so packed in my head that I need to do this, I need to do that. So like I couldn't think rationally. So I'm still learning, because I'm a national athlete, because we have competition every month, every time we have to overcome this I can say it's a fear because panic attack is real, and I've gone through that every time. But the situation gets easier as we grow older because we can cope with that situation well when the time comes. So I guess the experience helped me a lot. So yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Normally, yes, it is true. I ask athlete because normally they will face situations where the panic attack will attack them, because you have to decide then and then, especially in a competition at high level. Okay, if you are a national athlete and at the lower level, at the district level, it is fine with you, because people look at you as somebody great. And then if you go to higher level of competition, you will be looking into the higher competitor. All right, let's see another one. Go, Yamin, do you have anything to share? Because I think, for example, in your life, have you come across a situation where you cannot think much? And I definitely believe that everybody in this class has come across a situation where you cannot think much, and then when you do that, something happened to you. The implications of your what you call this decisions.
Hi, doctor.
Yeah.
And I think that there are too many experience for me to see the to cannot think as well. For example, if I am in dangerous and in a hurry, I cannot think well.
Any real example that you have come across?
Maybe when I have when I meet a teacher and ask her questions.
Okay. I mean, normally the fear of seeing your teacher, you scared, being scared to your teacher is also another issue. Let me share with you my experience when I couldn't think as much, but I have to think and decide then and then. Okay. Any of you, have you come across a situation where you miss your flight, your plane? Anybody here has experienced missing a flight?
Yes, once.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, Martin. So what did you do, and what was your decisions, and then what happened after that?
Personally, I missed my flight. It was last year.
Can I see your face, Martin?
Okay. It was last year that I missed my flight
Today
by a
you are at
mere.
home, huh? Today you are at home, not in the coffee shop.
Yeah, I'm at home. Okay. Personally, it was like last year that I missed my flight by a mere few minutes, and then I kept check in and stuff. So it really challenges me, like, what should I do next? How should I tell my parents? Because I'm already there and I'm like with the luggage and all, and I was like, oh, I felt like killing myself because it was so stupid. And I couldn't help the fact, but then I get to calm down and kind of make the right decision and just chill and then book the next flight. And thankfully, like, the next flight, it wasn't that expensive as well. It was on a night flight, so I booked that and I got myself a ticket back to Sabah, I think. Yeah.
I mean, what happened actually when you miss a flight? Do you have to buy a new ticket, or can you use your ticket and then you have to pay fine?
No, that ticket is basically burned because I can't check in, right? So they don't let me in, and they said that the flight is already going, and it's like blah 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 here and there. So I couldn't reason with them, and I had to like book a new flight at night so that I can go back to my destination.
Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you, Martin. I just want to share with you all my experience. My experience of missing a plane flight. I was going to Pakistan. I was going to Pakistan for a conference. I think in 2018 or 2017, 2018. Yeah, 2018. I was supposed going to Islamabad. I took a flight from KLIA to Lahore, from Lahore to Islamabad. Okay, so I reached at Lahore at night about 8 o'clock at night, and a person from the Ministry of Higher Education over there in Pakistan took me to the hotel. Okay, the hotel was basically accommodation. It's not a hotel; it's accommodation in the ministry itself. So they have a kind of hostels for their guests. So I was sent there for a night because my next flight from Lahore to Islamabad was next morning. Early flight in the morning, about I think 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. 7 o'clock, supposed to be 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, but the next morning I left early, about 5 o'clock in the morning, to the airport with the driver, and then he dropped me at the airport and he left me alone. Okay, because I was supposed to take the early morning flight, and then I was traveling alone by myself. I was supposed to be in Islamabad at that morning, but what happened was when I reached at the airport, I went into the airport to check in. I found out that the flight has already left. The flight has already left at 5 o'clock, and I thought the flight was at 7 o'clock because from what I know from the ticket was 7 o'clock in the morning. But they didn't send me any message or call me, and then I was told I was told that the flight was departed earlier than scheduled. So this is what happened to me. So I was left alone in the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the driver who sent me was was no longer there, and that place is basically, I don't want to say it, but I was very scared. I was really scared. What's going? I was asking for the next flight. When is the next flight so I can buy a ticket? So there is no flight on that day that can take me from Lahore to Islamabad. So the person said, the counter told me that the earliest flight that I can take is the next day at 7 o'clock in the morning. So what to do? So I was, of course, panic, scared, worried, and anything you can say. You name it, your stomach. So whom to call? And I was alone. So what I have to think, I couldn't think as much at that time. Was my first thought was that I have to go back to the hotel. I have to go back to the Ministry of Higher Education. I have to go back to the Ministry of Higher Education. But how to go there? I don't even know the roads there. And I was lucky enough that I remember the Ministry of Higher Education. I don't have the address as well. Because I was, they fetched me at the airport, they sent me there. And I was a person basically invited by the Ministry of Higher Education. They sponsored me everything. So I just brought myself and I was not worried. But when this thing happened, I had to think. So how to go back to the hotel, to the ministry? So I looked at the taxi station, the taxis at the airport. So you have to be cautious as well because you do not know. Because that place is the first time I was in Pakistan, and then which taxi should I take, because that will also carry certain implications, because sometimes you have to pay, and sometimes you can be cheated, So, and my worry is that in Pakistan there's a lot of roadblocks. There's a lot of roadblocks on everywhere. There are roadblocks. The army, they will check on you. They will check your passport and so on. Because the first day I arrived there, they took my passport already. They checked me and I have to wait for another 10 minutes before I got back my passport and before they allow me to go through the checkpoint. So it was kind of brave enough, and then I went to a taxi stand and I was looking into the taxi drivers that have uniform. They are wearing uniform. Don't simply take any taxi. So, and then I was lucky also. There was a taxi driver, young man, who could speak English. He said, "You don't worry, sir. I can speak English. I can take you. I know the Ministry of Higher Education, but I will take you to certain routes that will not go through the checkpoints. So you just imagine, if something happened, I do not know at that time. So and then he took me through roads where I never come across in my life, the place. Then if I told myself he took me somewhere, I also can't do anything. I do not know anything. Just pray to Allah at that time. I hope He will take me to the right place. And Alhamdulillah, He took me to the place where I was I was supposed to be, the ministry. So they were so surprised that I missed my flight. And then so I stayed back at the residence for one day. But in the morning, I was told by them that they were waiting for me at Islamabad. They were looking for me at the airport, and when I didn't turn up at the airport, they were so worried because anything could happen in Pakistan. Pakistan is not like Malaysia, right? So they were so worried that I didn't turn up at the airport, and then when I contacted them from I called them from Lahore, and they were so relieved that I am still alive. I'm still at the Ministry of Higher Education. So I discussed with the officers at the Ministry of Higher Education, and then the director from the person who inviting me from Islamabad, they told that I have to be in Islamabad on that day, whether I like it or not. I mean, I have to go there, but I cannot take flight. I have to take bus from there. From Lahore to Islamabad took about 4.5 hours to 5 hours. Right? And also, I'm not sure whether the safety is there or not, because the many places there are checkpoints. The army are all over the country. Checkpoints. It's not like in Malaysia. I do not know in China. Do you have many roadblocks in China? Yamin, do you have many roadblocks in China?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, also the same thing in Pakistan. They have so many checkpoints. Then they check your passport and so on. So I told them who is going to buy the ticket and who is going to make sure that my journey from Lahore is Islamabad is safe, and I'm not taken as anybody who is traveling unnecessarily in Pakistan, because I was so worried, because it's unsafe. It's not safe to me. Okay, that's my assumption. Okay, see, I'm making assumptions because from my experience. From my experience, I'm making assumptions that I'm not worried. I'm worried because I told them that yesterday they took my passport. I was from the airport to the hotel, and the first checkpoint outside the hotel, outside the airport, they stopped me. They stopped my car, and they were asking for my passport. And I told them I was invited by the Ministry of Higher Education. I'm sponsored by Ministry of Higher Education. So you just imagine. So to cut it short, I took what you call this bus from Lahore at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I reached Islamabad at 8 o'clock at night. And then there were 2 cars waiting for me there, as if I was a VVIP, very, very important person. And then before the bus arrived there, they have waited for me at the bus stations. So as the bus arrived, I was the first person to get out from the bus, and I went straight to the car, and they escorted me from the bus direct to the hotel. So you just imagine in terms of that. So the experience was really teaching me a lot. So next time I said to myself that I feel not going to Pakistan anymore because of the experience. Because it's not they delay the flight. If they delay the flight, you can find the flight. No. But if they brought forward the flight without informing you, then you are in big trouble. Yeah, so this is actually, so there are many implications in terms of safety, in terms of your life as well, and so be thankful. So this is something that if you talk about experience, there are cases where you have to think not as much. And then another example is, for you, your exam time. During exams, I think which students are facing is that you cannot think as much as you want. You cannot take long time. So you have to decide then and And then, okay. So anybody else want to share experience?
Doctor, can I share my experience in Malaysia?
Yeah, sure. Who is this?
Before I start talking, I have to apologize to you because my laptop's camera has broken and I'm trying to fix it. Maybe next time I will show my face. All right?
Yeah, give me your name, please. Is it Rocco?
Yes, Rocco.
Your real name?
Ban Chen Xi. I come from China.
Oh, so we call you Rocco.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, okay. All right, share with us.
Okay. One time I think I believe that met some students who from China have same situations like me. One day I came out with my friends and he didn't bring his passport, and then two policemen come to us and say, show me your passport, show me your SC. And at that time I didn't know every people when they go out they have to bring their passport or their SC.
Where
I
is it?
didn't know
In
that.
Malaysia, is it?
Yes, in Malaysia.
Oh, okay.
And they asked me to bring to show my passport, but I didn't bring that. So at that time I'm so confused, I'm so scared, and I didn't know what to do. And the police officer said, if you don't show me your passport, you have to come with us to go to the police station.
Yeah.
And then I really didn't know what should I do.
What to do?
And so I showed him my picture of my student ID and my passport, and let him know I'm a student from University Putra, from UPM.
Yeah. When was it? Last year?
No, this year.
This year? So what happened next?
They told me to fine.
But then?
To pay them 200 ringgit.
They ask money from you?
Yes.
So
First time I have another experience when I driving. I didn't bring my driving license, so they paid me 500 ringgit.
This is corruption.
Yes.
So what happened when you pay 200 ringgit? They let you go. They let you free.
Yes. And then they say next time you must remember you bring your passport.
That 500 ringgit, so you pay?
200. First time 500. Next time 200.
So you pay all this money?
Yes.
Wow. So you see
It's my first time. It's my first time. I didn't know that. So now I can share with them.
Which place took place?
Sarakiban. Nearby East Lake.
Oh, in Seremban.
Sorry?
Where is it? Where was it?
January.
Oh, where?
This year,
Seremban?
January.
Where?
Yes, Sarakiban.
Oh, Seremban. Okay. Oh, Seri Kembangan. Sorry, Seri Kembangan, eh?
Yeah. Sarakiban.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah. I was also an international student last time. I was in Canada. But what I did was, I mean, normally our students' ID is very important, our student card. They don't believe in your student card, eh?
Yes.
They need your passports or your IC. This is the problem.
Yes.
So, yeah. I during my time when I was a student, I brought everywhere my passport because my worry is when the policemen they can ask for your passport anytime they want. So this is the problem. But yeah, that one is a form of corruption, right? So it's not. I mean, it's so sorry that it happened to you. But maybe what do you think? What the rest say about this thing? What can we do? What should we do when we face? Because this is you are worried to bring your passport anywhere, right? You might lose it, right? So you don't bring your passport. But again, like the Malaysians, so they cannot go out if possible by law. you have to bring your IC, your national, your identity card. So the same thing if you are international students. To be safe, you better bring your passport everywhere you go. But the only thing that we are worried is that the passport might get loose. I mean, if you, so just treat that as I think as our handphone. We bring our handphone anywhere. So maybe then if you can, one thing I think I can try to help is that you take a picture of your passport and the contents of your passport, especially your personal particulars, as well as your student visa and so on, because these are the proof that you have in your handphone. I think is in a way you can show to them. So this is important for international students. Okay? Right. So let's move on. Right. This is experience. So experience, you cannot think as much, of course. When you face with them, I also have the experience of I mean being stopped by roadblock, police. That time somehow I forgot to put on my seat belt. So he was asking for something lah, but I told them I don't have any money, and then if they insist they can fine me. I said because I don't have the money. So finally they were asking so many questions lah. Where were your house and so on? Is that house you buy? I said I was renting the house. You know, then I told the policeman that my children were crying in the car, so I have to rush home and so on. So I forgot to put in my seatbelt. And normally I never forgot to put in my seatbelt, but on that day particular I forgot to put on my seatbelt, and then there was a roadblock, and I was stopped by them, but I didn't pay anything. Okay, finally they allowed me to go because they look into my car. They see my two children at that time a long time ago were crying. So it was about 9 o'clock at night or so. So they said next time don't forget. I know they want money. This is the problem now. I think I'm not saying me. I mean not saying they are bad people, but this thing might happen. That's what I mean. What I faced in Pakistan, I was so worried because over there it's different. Okay, all right. So there are a couple of things that we have to look as well when we talk about the problems of thinking. If you look here, the problems of thinking. One aspect here, focus on the focus on the exact meaning. Fail to recognize metaphoric meaning. How was that? How to pronounce it? Sarcasm, figures of speech, and so on. Sometimes you cannot detect what is meant by the person's saying. Okay, so that's why we face difficulties in trying to pinpoint the solving the problem, for example, the metaphoric and so on. Okay, another things about the problems. Okay, this one, yeah. The ad hoc thinking, abrupt thinking, limited time for thinking. This normally happen when we are facing during exams and so on. Okay. Narrow, restricted thinking, overcome debate, discussion, and brainstorming. How many of you always involved in debates, in school debates, and so on? How many of you? Any of you here are school debaters? Please, Shaira. Are you school debater? Nurul, Shaira, either you?
No, sir.
No.
I am not a debater. Yeah.
Not a debater. Would like to be a debater later on?
I'm scared of crowds.
Oh, scared of crowd. So you have to overcome the problems. Anisha, kau? Anisha, were you a school debater before?
No.
No? Did you involve in any forum, for example, or any competition? No?
No.
Oh, okay. Anybody else? Anything you want to share? Well, cases like we have to debates, discussion and brainstorming. Anybody? Kamarul? Have you ever come across being a school debater?
I'm not a school debater, but I've been to the international symposium.
Okay, so what's anything that you can share?
So the symposium was organized in 2017.
Yeah.
So the groups were from all of the SVP from Malaysia,
Yeah.
and we were required to present about certain topics. Like that year, the topic is mainly about volunteerism. And my school got the topic of volunteerism, echoes humanity, and what I don't remember. But the thing that screwed me up during that competition, when the judge explained no, they asked to me what is the main problem that the new generation don't want to involve in volunteerism nowadays.
Yeah.
So I only got like 10 or 15 seconds to think for the answer.
Yeah.
And then I cannot think really much. So I just tell them the story about, um, I think it's not a real story, but I made up a story of like a family that don't want their children to, to be
Involved,
to be involved in volunteerism, to think more about other people than themselves. So from that, I think that is not a good answer, resulting that my group only got the silver award rather than got the gold award. Yeah, I think that's all.
A good experience. I mean, your session, that symposium or forum is a very good experience. I want to share with you. Last week, I was presenting in a competition in UPM. This now is the academic month where we have a competition. So I have presented from my faculty innovations in teaching and learning. So we presented something on the new norms about the process of interviewing students through online. I think you all have gone through that process, right? I remember, I think everybody still remember that you were interviewed through online interview, and we until now we haven't met at all. So that process was basically the first time in our history that we interviewed about nearly 1,000 students, and then we only admit about 200 over students, 250 students in education and counseling. So you just imagine. So because we thought that was innovation in terms of students interview. Normally we did an interview, I mean face-to-face interviews, but this time around we did it online interview. So we presented that, and then I was asked, okay, what was the innovations? Anybody can help me? There was no time to think, and then this is something that you have very restricted time to think. And also before this, I was interviewed by Astro Awani live, and then they asked me questions, and I in fact I forgot to increase the volume of my speaker, so I couldn't hear clearly what was the question. So that was very difficult time as well. So because you have to answer, and then you have no time to think. So this is the times when really and some of the problems in thinking when we don't have that much time. Okay. Number three is about big thinking, but efforts to clarify an idea in various forms. Of course, yeah. If you have to explain, for example, explain verbally. When I think you during your interview, you will ask so many questions. What was anybody of you can share the questions? What was the questions asked to you that make you um, really surprised? If you want to say that, anybody want to share? Yes,
One question
yeah,
that I got during interview, actually during TESOL interview
yeah.
for TESOL, I was asked, what do you know about UPM?
Didn't you search for UPM before you attended the interview?
I was unprepared because there was certain circumstances that make me fail to search about UPM. The only thing I know is their ranking.
Yeah.
So I was really shocked at that time, and I was like, I just said I don't really know anything about UPM, only the ranking.
No.
And the interviewer was really shocked about it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I was watching all the interviews, you know, because we control all the interview in Putra Future Classroom. And I think I've seen all the interviews, but some of I listen very carefully, you know, what happened in the interview. So anybody else want to share the question that shocked you during the interview? Sarah, Anisha,
Me, doctor.
yeah.
I remember the lecturer asked me to sell myself to UPM,
Okay.
and I was like, I know what she actually meant, but I thought she really want me to sell myself to them. So I just laughed, and they were confused, and they laughed too. So until now, I'm still surprised that I'm accepted in UPM.
You are accepted in UPM, eh?
Yeah, I
Actually,
just answered
yeah,
randomly.
yeah. Okay. Anybody else? The question that shocked you, Hakimi, yeah, Anisha Hakau. I think you want to say something. Yeah,
Ada hi doctor.
yeah, yeah.
So I was sharing my experience working as a kindergarten teacher.
When?
So I was sorry.
When was it?
This year,
Oh, okay.
January till September.
Oh, after
So
the exam.
due to the MCO, we were conducting online classes for children. So I was sharing this to the interviewer, and the interviewer's question shocked me. She asked that how can children like 6 years old can sit in front of the laptop and listen to you. So that was really like, oh, that really shocked me. So I answered like for as a teacher, it should be like we should be creative and we should pull the children's attention and so on. Yeah, so that's my experience.
Yeah, I want to share with you my grandson. My grandson is 4 years old, you know, and he attended a kindergarten as well, the preschool. And I think today also he has his online classes. You know, he has his online classes every day. And then he actually nowadays I think I was so surprised to see that my grandson at 4 years old also having a class, online class, learning how to pronounce few words, right? And then learning how to read the Iqra, also doing the painting, the drawing classes. So there are many things that he did, in fact, now. So actually, because we have to look, because what happened is the generation is different. That generation is different now. Now, children at a very young age, even 2 years old, already know how to play with the even handphone and so on. So this is something different. So yes, of course. Normally, question that trap us. I have the experience also last time when I was the special officer to a minister during convocation ceremony in UPM. So you all miss the ceremony. You all miss that ceremony because normally at this time around we are having our convocation for 1 week. So it's a grand ceremony in the university. It is like the time when parents and everybody comes to UPM to attend for the convocation. And this year around, we don't have that one. So I was the special, and then normally the top management, the top people, there are the VVIP, there are officers who have to take care of them. So at that time, I was way back in, I think way back in 1990, early 90s, early 90s. I was the special officer to a minister, and I have to escort him everywhere during the competition, and I have to fetch him from his home and so on. I was there was a driver, and I was the special officer. And then I didn't expect that he would ask me questions that I don't have the answer. So suddenly he asked me out of the blue, how many students got first class during this year, that particular year, convocation ceremony? How in the world I would prepare the answer? So it was very difficult. And then I know that when you are a special officer to a minister, you have to be prepared with information. You have to get the information. So because they always ask you questions that you never thought of. Yeah, the question always shock. Okay, Hakimi, you have anything to say about this one? What happened during your interview? Hakimi, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. So what happened during your interview? Was it shock you or what?
I think the interview was very interesting because all the question that the doctor was asking me, I managed to answer confidently.
Yeah. Any particular example? Can you show me your face?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any particular example? Interesting question that that make you chosen.
Yeah. The doctors, they didn't ask me anything about UPM. They didn't ask me about like anything related to UPM at all. Instead, the lecturer, they were asking me about my personal life, and I was a bit shocked because I don't know why they were so interested in me.
You were a man, you know. We are looking for men, you know.
Yeah. And I started talking about myself. I was promoting all my talents and all my attributes. And then the lecturer, they suddenly want to know about my siblings. And I started talking about my siblings. And I mentioned that I have a stepsister who's suffering from autism and also epilepsy. And the lecturer, they kept on loading me with questions regarding my stepsister. And I had to answer them one by one.
That's very interesting because that point basically interests them. So normally that interests them, and then they want to know more about how basically you relate yourself to that person. Because normally, that's the, if you can answer all those things, that is the selling point. Normally, we will try to find a question that will basically unveil the students' ability to answer and so on. Normally, we look into that. Like myself, for example, I will ask sometimes for the candidates to sing. To sing. So, you know, some people ask me, why you ask the candidate to sing? Actually, I mean, we are not a singer, of course. But sometimes we can that hunch feeling, you know, I think you can sing. Okay, for example, then we ask the students to sing. Because if you are brave, you will be able just to sing in front of the public. This is to get rid of the fear of the public, the audience. Because to become a teacher, one aspect is like to become an actor, you know. Do you see that? Do you all see that? To become a teacher is like to trying to mold yourself to be an actor. Because you have to speak in front of the public, you have to act. There are times when you have to smile, there are times when you have to really make them, work, you know, you have to be strict, you have to be fierce sometimes. So these are the things that we are going to learn. So these are actually skills that we are going to develop among the students. So this is very interesting. That's why I was, last time when I interviewed one of the candidates, I asked the students to, what you call this, to read poem, the Malay poem and so on. And then I also asked the students to dramatize, to act, to be like a teacher is normal. And these are the things that we want to see from the students because we want to see your character. So this is something. So actually, of course, the thing that I want to highlight here is that thinking, the effort to clarify an idea in various forms, you have very short time. And then sometimes you have this confused thinking. So how you want to overcome confused thinking? Train to organize ideas in a more systematic manner in oral and writing exercises as in flow charts. This is also is very difficult. Take time. How you want to organize. That's why you can see certain people, they can talk from 1, 2, 3, 4. Because their mind is very systematic. Okay? All right. So these are the things which I was covering during the last lecture. Okay. So let's look. Any question that you want to ask? Anybody want to ask questions? Anybody want to ask question? So let's look into the other slides that I want to share today. How come? Why it's not coming up? Let me check. It's not coming up. Let me check again. Let me share again. Okay, let me share screen again. Oh, it's not coming up. There is a problem. Wait, I'm trying to share the slide. No, it's not coming up. Now what you see in the screen, the one in the top left for this week. Do you see anything on the screen?
It's the slide for topic 2, Doctor.
Topic 2, okay, let me check again.
Yes.
Now is the slide for topic 1. Now components of thinking. Can you see?
Yes, Doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Doctor.
Right. So, all right. For this particular topic, what you will learn, I'm trying to learn is basically a few things that will help you to understand. So you have to basically be able to define and explain the cognitive and the affective domains. You have to be able to discuss about the importance of mental, cognitive, and reflective thinking domains. Then explain the creative and critical thinking domains. These are the 3 things that we hope to achieve. So these are some of the terms that we are supposed to be able to come across and cover. Cognitive, metacognitive, the affective domain, the emotional intelligence, the critical thinking, and then the creative thinking. So I want to highlight on this one as well, because these 3 things, thinking, feeling, and actions, are basically the result of what we are able to portray ourselves. There are relations between thinking, between our feeling, and our actions. Basically, how we think, and then how we feel and how we act will also reflected in our daily doings. Okay, so some of the things that you will come across in terms of thinking skill, various aspects, for example, like the cognitive domain. This is related to the aspects of the brain and the mind. And the metacognitive domain is something higher. The affective domain is basically touching on your heart and soul. Okay, and the critical domains, like what I've said just now, the critical aspects where you will judge this based on certain criteria, on certain aspects, on certain values, for example. And then the creative is how you look into things differently, how you look into things different from the previous. So these are some of the components, because in thinking there are various processes. Okay? Because we have some, for example, here we anticipate things. We anticipate what I think we can expect something. Okay, concluding. These are different processes in thinking, anticipating, concluding, making summary of what you conclude of something. And then also, you cannot run away from being a person, a human being. You can never. I mean, sometimes there are times when you forget. You keep on forgetting things, especially when you are getting older, because of the aging process. Keep forgetting. I think you have heard how a grandma was looking for her glass when her spectacles, when actually she put her glass just like this, right? And then I was looking everywhere and asking the grandchildren, where did grandma put the speck? And everybody said that there is up there in your head. So when I'm forgetting, that actually is about aging as well. Of course, reasoning, yeah, giving reasons, yeah, being aware, okay, considering, judging, reflecting, being curious, creating something new, knowing, of course, remembering, recalling back your memory, believing, deciding, you have to decide, memorizing, understanding, choosing, dreaming, where people like to dream. The most important things in life sometimes is dreaming, but dreaming sometimes brings something true. Okay? Okay, perceiving how you look into things, visualizing how you visualize, concentrating, for example, in your studies, in your classes, evaluating. You are also evaluating myself. For example, you are looking into me. When we are teaching, people will evaluate us, how we communicate, for example. That's why interview is one aspect where people evaluate you, people will assess you, assess your knowledge, for example, evaluate your attitude, problem solving, and creating. Okay, I would like to try again. Let me check with the Putra Plus. If I can put this in your, it's good. Let me check. Okay, thinking visually. Okay, there is a game. All right. How to? Let me share. I'm trying to share this one. If possible. All right. Can you see now? Can you see this game? Okay. All right. This is called a rebus game. You see, the rebus puzzles use visuals that put a different spin on words or parts of words that are well known around to figure out the word or phrase for each of these rebus puzzles and write it underneath. Okay, let's try together. I want to, if possible, you can, if you can use this one. Okay. Okay. Okay, the first one. This one, what is this? If you can guess. The first one, anybody?
Decision.
Pardon? Right. Anybody want to answer this one?
Split decision?
Split decision, Amina. Okay, any other answer? Aburi? Ahmad Aburi? This one? Amina said split decision.
It seems like that. I don't know.
Seems like that also. Okay. Anybody else? Atika Ghazali? Atika, are you there? Saidatul Husna? Yeah. So what is this? What is this?
It's just split decision because it's split.
Yes, I think you get it. You all get it right here. Yes, it's good. Congratulations. The first time I get from my students, I have tried this before. They couldn't get it. So this one is the split decisions. So this is something that you look, you visually, you think carefully, and then you decide. Why is it split decision? Because it is split into two, right? Right. Syaratul Husna. Betul? Husna?
Yes,
Okay.
doctor.
Okay. So the second one?
Yes, doctor. Middle age.
Age.
Middle
Oh, you all
age.
are very smart. You have to be smart. Oh, so good. So you all, and then the other one?
Another one.
This one, the third one?
Another one down.
Another one down. Okay, next. And Sarah Umaira.
I don't know what is that.
Try to answer this one. Okay, anybody else? Yeah? Tak apa. It's okay, no problem, no worry. Okay, just want to try, yeah? Okay. Yin Zhu King. Yin?
Yes, hello, doctor.
Yes, number 3, what is this? If you can guess.
Uh, I don't know what is it.
Alright, okay. Actually, this is one after another.
Oh, one after another.
One after another. One, you look into one after another. Okay.
Okay, I know.
This one?
Chief editor.
Alright, chief editor, you got it, right? So this one? Number 5. Claudia? Bing Yi Zheng?
T for two.
T for 2. Who is that? Who is answering there?
Anisha.
Anisha, okay. T for 2. Good. Yes. That one is T for 2. T for 2. Okay, how they play? Okay. This one? Anybody?
And better.
And better? Yeah, it's there, but not right. Not. It's close, but not right. Anybody?
Getting better and better.
Getting better and better. Yes, of course. Oh, no. This one different. Better and better is okay, but I think it's not close enough. It's not. Anybody?
Maybe bigger and better.
Yes. Bigger and better because bigger and better because this one is small, so this one is big. So bigger and better. Right? This one number 7.
Tendency.
Pardon?
Tendency.
Tendency. Close but not there yet. Halimatun Sa'diyah. And this is a state in USA.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
This is Tennessee, right? Number 8.
Is it moral value?
Moral value, yeah, is there, but it's not quite that. Yeah, it's not quite on the spot.
Is it moral 3?
Moral 3 is quite there. Right. Is that, I think you want to say something?
Moral support.
Yes, moral support. Close, but it's not there yet. Actually, it's moral pillars. You see the pillars on there? These are the moral pillars. Okay. Number 9, what is it?
Forget it.
Is it forget it?
Forget it.
Forget it.
Yeah, everybody get it right. Forget it. So why forget it? Yeah, there are 4 here. This one, number 10.
Small talk.
Small talk.
Small talk. This one is small talk basically. Yeah, small talk. Number 11 is what is this?
Crossbreed.
Yes, crossbreed. Yeah. This one?
Half-hearted.
Half-hearted.
Yes, half-hearted. Yeah, half-hearted. This one? I'm not sure. This one I myself forget it. I forget the answer. Never mind. If anybody can answer this one, I forgot the answer. I forgot. In fact, I was trying to figure out what was it. Never mind. Number 30 we can skip. If you know, you tell me. This one, number 14.
That's metaphor, doctor.
Yeah, you are smart. Who is that?
Me.
Me, I couldn't see your ni. Siapa tu? Siapa jawab tadi? Oh, Kamaru kan? Okay. Metaphor, you punya mata tajam. You have sharp eyes. All right, this one, number 14.
Slideshow.
Slideshow, all right? Oh, so slideshow. Okay, and then number 15.
Sightseeing. Sightseeing.
Sightseeing.
Travel overseas.
Yeah, travel overseas. Because of the travel overseas, eh? Okay. Okay, let me check. The other one, number 16.
Top secret.
Top
secret.
Yeah, top secret. Yeah, top secret. Yeah. Number 17, I can't remember. I also this one I got. I'm not sure this one.
Operation.
Operation. Yeah. Well, you're very sharp, no? I'm gonna find it. Okay. Operation, right? This one.
Get up and go.
Yeah. Okay, these are the things that interesting. Yeah. Okay, this one.
See for yourself.
See for yourself.
Everybody understand already. Everybody get into the game. Then once you get into the game, you can play with the game. Right, this one.
Jack in the box.
Jack in the box.
Not quite clear. Not quite there. Yes, Jack in the box, of course, box. But this is not box. Maybe you can consider box.
Jack Square.
Jack square.
Jack in a rectangle.
Jack in the rectangle. Okay.
Jack Square.
Jack in a square.
Jack is square. I mean, quite close, but this one is basically what I mean. It's Jack in the middle. All right, just to I mean, why this thing is basically for us to look into things visually, yeah, because sometimes it's making meanings in terms of our you call this our that's why if you want to relate back to this one, yeah, there are different processes in thinking. Yeah? So basically we are going to so these are the things, and when you look into our brain, relate to brains, basically we always attach to intelligence level. And intelligence level, we talk about your, for example, if you are having good grades, people say that you are intelligent and so on. So these are basically the related to cognitive domain. So basically, these are in terms of the components of thinking, how we think and so on. It's related to the taxonomy Bloom introduced by Bloom. I think you will be hearing a lot about Bloom because we are in the education field. So way back in 1956, these are we call the pyramid Blooms, the Bloom's pyramids, actually discovering or describing on the way how we look into things, the way how we looking into visualize various things in our life, in our daily life. We look from the simple things, normally the basic things, the simple things, and up to the highest level, which is the complex or the abstract things. So if you divide that into various pyramid, okay, they call it the Bloom's taxonomy pyramid. So at the lowest level is basically about knowledge. Basically about knowledge. This, if you realize, we find that knowledge is actually related to something only remember. Okay? So the earliest part they were looking into basically in terms of knowledge, basically remembering, recalling facts. For example, if I ask you questions, what is your name, where you come from, for example, it is basically looking at the lower level, at the lowest level here, the knowledge level. And then it goes up at the comprehension. Basically, when they improve the Bloom's pyramid in 2001, they were looking into to change it. They change it. The second level, the second level was basically, my grandson is calling me. Let me answer, and I will tell them that I'm having a class. Okay, and so, then Adam call main kereta sekejap. Atuk ada kelas. Atuk ada kelas nanti Atuk call balik Okay. Kejap lagi Kejap lagi. Sorry. My grandson calling me. Okay. Alright. Okay. The second level, the second level is about understanding. Understanding, for example, is a bit higher. Not only recalling. Understanding is basically trying to think deeper. Okay? And then you're trying to, at the higher level, you'll be applying. At the third level, you'll be applying. And then higher than that will be analyzing. This will be going deeper and deeper. And then look into the top two. Last time, evaluation was at the highest level, but synthesis now is being put at the highest level, which is equivalent to creating. Evaluating is basically trying to, after you analyze, you will assess, you will evaluate the value of every point and so on. So these are basically the cognitive domains. So the Bloom's taxonomy can be divided into lower order thinking skills and higher order thinking skills, whereby in the lower level thinking skills, you are basically looking into the aspects of remembering, understanding, and applying. That is the lower level. And then in higher level, we'll be looking into the aspect of analyzing, evaluating, and creating something new, invent, for example. Okay? So these are looking basically in terms of the knowledge, from a simple knowledge to a very complex knowledge. Okay, so if you look into this one, the explanation, and the explanation here, okay, remembering, basically just recalling, recalling data or information and concept. Just the point here, what it emphasizes is just recalling. Where is it? Where is my pointer? Recalling. Okay, understanding comprehension, understand the meaning. So you're looking into the aspect of meaning. You're looking into how you want to translate that, how you interpolate, and then how you interpretations. What important is looking into this one. Many of the things that you will do is really looking into the patience and looking into the meaning. Many things. Why you have to do it? Why you have to do it? Why is it like this? Number 3 is concepts. Use a concept in a new situation or use open abstraction. Applies what was learned in the classroom into novel situations in the workplace. Basically, like when I was just now, we discussed about the experience of thinking, the missing a flight and so on. You have to apply into the real situation what to do when you have to what you call this, when you have to do something different. Okay, number 4, analyzing. Separate material or concept into component. Okay, when you have to this one parts, so that you can understand better. For example, in a problem, when you find a problem, you analyze. You have to find the roots of the problems. Okay, and the root of the problems. Okay, for example, what are the roots of the problem? Okay, roots. For example. The roots of the problem, okay, and then you look into the step. For example, later on we will discover this one. Number 5, we will look into evaluating, making judgment, making judgment about the values of ideas. The values of ideas. What important here is the value. The value that is indeed exists in a certain ideas. Okay? And then, of course, finally is creating is something like something new. So put elements together to form a coherent or functional whole, reorganize elements into a new pattern. So you are basically inventing something. Okay, or maybe people always say inventing. Okay. Yeah, so inventing. So these are the things basically, and when we try to um, uh, separate into different levels of Bloom's taxonomy, the things that normally we will come across in our daily. There are also what we call cognitive, basically looking into the aspect of your brain, how your brains related into your intelligence level. So, but metacognitive is something different. Metacognitive is about thinking about thinking. I would say that this one, I think you will hear. Okay? Thinking about thinking. Thinking about thinking. Thinking. Thinking about thinking. So it is realization and knowledge. Individual to control thinking process and daily activities. So to control thinking process, how you control your thinking process. So this is at the higher level. Yeah, it's quite abstract. For example, it's like you have to put a lot of questions into the aspects of your thinking with the questions like why. Always ask the question of why. Yeah, this is where you. Why did I do it that way? Did you have? I think you have come across this situation. Then you will ask yourself, why did you do it that way? Okay. Then you will say, I think Ezra just now mentioned about her experience in competitions. Yeah? During the competitions, then you did that particular things, but when you finish after the competitions, you thought, why didn't I do it that way? Then you see how the thinking actually is very important. That will affect your decisions during the competition. Right or not? Iza? Iza, are you there?
Yes, yes, doctor.
Yeah. This is always. I think athletes always say that. Yeah. Why didn't I do it this way? Why did I did that way? Meaning that particular how you is very important for an athlete. For example, during a critical stage, to control their minds. You look at the soccer game, for example, many people, many players, the team that has higher control thinking abilities will able to control the games until the end. But there are times when the team who has led lost the game. That's why I think I remember last time in the World Cup when Brazil was I think was thrashed out by Germany or what. The score was 7-2 something like that. One of the World Cup. Man, ingat tak? I think anybody remember that game?
It's 7-1, doctor.
Yeah, 7-1. Yeah. Brazil and Germany, right?
I remember I watched that match.
I was so frustrated that I turned off the TV at that time. So I'm a Brazil supporter. See, I don't like German. So Germany trash out. Brazil was trashed out by Germany. That score. Okay, so at that level, we didn't expect such a very good team suffered huge loss, 7-1, which was not expected at all. Okay, so basically this is what I would like to stop here because it's almost 11 already. Okay, I think you have another class, and I think I don't want to take your time more. So please, I will continue from this one in our next class. Okay. So anybody else? Anybody want to say something? I didn't realize that we are almost 11 o'clock already. I hope you have learned something for today. When you talk about the thinking, the problems of thinking, when you talk about the process of thinking, when you talk about the aspects of a little bit about the cognitive aspects. Well, of course, this one you can listen some more, watch the video. Maybe I will try to show in our next class or the video so that we can look together, we can watch together the video, then we can get from it. Okay, sometimes we have to do differently. I'm trying to make it more interesting because classes like this has to be diverse, making it so that everybody can participate and can understand. I think you all have. I think it's very interesting for the last 2 hours. Anybody want to have last word? You want to ask some things? Anybody? Anybody want to say something? I want to take a picture before we end up the class. Can you show your
Okay,
face?
okay.
Yeah, because it's for our for our attendance. And don't forget to fill in the what you call this our Google form, right? Yeah, we post in our okay. Smile, everybody smile. Okay, okay. Fakrullah, can you on your camera? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Smile. 1, 2. Okay. The next one. Yeah. Okay. Okay. A few more. All right. Those who cannot, never mind. It's okay. Okay. All right. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. Right. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next one. All right. Next one. Okay. Okay. A few. San Yi Tong, can you show me your face? Okay. Wan Imran, where are you? Wan Imran? Wan Imran? Wan Imran, are you still there? Not there already. Finish already. Somewhere else. Okay. 1, 2. Okay. All right. I think that's all for today. Anything? Any last word from you all? Anybody want to say something?
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you. All right. Lokman, how are you, Lokman? Okay.
More things, doctor.
Okay. Right. So if and even nobody wants to ask anything, Nur Aina Sari. Nur Aina Sari, how are you? You didn't say a word today. I hope to listen from you all every class. Nurul Hani, how are you? Nur Hidayah, how are you? Oh, you okay?
I'm good at that.
Good, okay. Pavitran, how are you?
I'm good, doctor.
Okay, I think we have to end the class until you have another class, is it?
No.
No.
All right, okay. I have to stop because 2 hours already. Then student might complain. Okay, guys, see you next week.
Thank you.
I will put something in the.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay.
Do we have to